it's Jai452 back again inside the land of cosplay with another episode of Inside Cosplay. Joining me this week is my special guest,
Merc with a cosplay.
Hi Mark with the cosplay, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's relatively cold, but I suppose that's the UK for you. We love our cold and crappy weather. But we're not here to talk about weather, we're here to talk about cosplay. So I'm going to ask you, when did you first start cosplaying?
I started cosplaying about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was just started with some small conventions that were quite local, and just built it up from there.
How old were you when you first started cosplay?
I was 19.
Wow.
I started quite older.
Do you remember what your first your first ever cosplay was?
It was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit easier to do.
Okay. Who or what inspired you to get into cosplay?
Well, the year before I started cosplaying, I went to my first Comic-Con. Obviously seeing all the people with the costumes, so I thought I'd give it a go the next time I was there.
Awesome. Do a lot of those people that you possibly met at your first Comic-Con event still cosplay to this day, or have some of them kind of like decided, right, I'm going to give it up now?
Yeah, a lot of them still do it because they all enjoy it, you know. It's quite a fun thing to do.
Is there anybody that you follow on social media that inspires you to cosplay?
Basically, it's most of the friends I've made at the Comic-Cons. You know, they all inspire each other to build more things, do new costumes.
Awesome. Do you have any cosplay idols?
I don't really have any cosplay idols. I just get ideas from everybody.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question's a nice, interesting one for you. In your opinion, what has been the most challenging cosplay that you've ever done, both from the making of a costume and the acting side? So when I say acting side, that can be like how a character stands, or how they talk, or just how they would interact with other either characters or other individuals. So let's talk about the costume side first. Like, what has been the most challenging to date for you?
For costume side, it's been more makeup based.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say it's the Suicide Squad Joker, trying to get all the tattoos done, especially early in the morning before a convention. It takes a while, a couple of hours normally.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of process are you going through for that? Because it is obviously quite a lengthy process.
Yeah, normally I would get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, get some breakfast, and then immediately start with the makeup, spraying the hair, applying the face paint, all the very small details.
Okay. So how long does it take you to become the Suicide Squad Joker on average?
If I'm doing it accurately, it'll probably take about 2-3 hours before, like, in the morning to get ready.
And I'm guessing it's like that same process again at night when you're taking it all off. It's like 2 to 3 hours.
It's a little bit quicker to get off, but
okay.
Depends on how you do it.
Take us through that kind of setup. Like you said that you're using the dye for the hair. Are you airbrushing the makeup on, or are you?
We're actually just using normal white face paint and make the foundation to make the face pale.
Mm-hmm.
And for the tattoos, we use liquid eyeliner or black face paint.
Ah.
It's always easier to like draw or write with it. It's easier to get it more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
For the hairspray, we instead of like dyeing the hair temporarily, we just use like temporary hairspray dye.
Mm-hmm.
So you just spray it on and it washes off after one wash. So.
Awesome. So, who's been the most challenging to date for you from an acting standpoint?
Well, there's been quite a few. The most one is like I do different variations of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one time I went to a convention in York wearing my Deadpool costume, but with Princess Leia's slave layer outfit over the top. So to try and pull that one off, it was a little bit more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a few people thinking I was actually female, but these things happen.
It does, it does. Um, so from the acting standpoint of that, how difficult was that? Like being a Deadpool version of Princess Leia.
It's obviously with Deadpool's a very charismatic kind of person. You know, the way he acts, you gotta try and act like you gotta try and reproduce that in public. It's quite difficult with no acting skills at all.
And not only that, but when you're doing a kind of like crossover type of character, you have to take like aspects of one
Both
character
characters.
and then also aspects of the other character and see.
It's even harder when one character is actually female as well.
Yeah, it's very difficult to see if they actually kind of like mesh together sometimes. So I can imagine, because I know like both Leia and Deadpool, I can imagine how difficult that would be to pull off.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was very warm, and I will do it again at some point.
hmm so my next question for you is kind of similar to the last one, but I'll explain it a little more detailed. In your opinion, what is the most difficult thing or character to cosplay as? And this is in regards to both yourself and other people. So let's start with yourself. Like, who or
For
what
me,
do you think?
it's trying to get the makeup done perfectly in the morning.
hmm
It's, the characters where you would apply a lot of makeup is a lot more difficult. Or when you like big sets of armor,
hmm
it's harder.
Is there any type of cosplay in that regard that, or a character or thing in that regard that you would not want to do?
Well, I've tried doing the makeup test for Handsome Jack from Borderlands,
hmm
and that one is very difficult. It's quite hard to get it perfect.
So is that something that you are kind of like staying away from until you've built up your skill
Yeah,
level in
I
that
am.
sense?
I will obviously keep practicing the makeup until we get it perfect, but I wouldn't take it to a convention until it was ready.
Right. So in regards to other people, what is a cosplay character or thing that you would advise them against doing when they're just starting out?
Not to do anything too complicated, and don't leave it last minute.
Definitely. When you're saying something kind of complicated, like what would be a good example of something that you think is very complicated for a beginner?
Well, I've tried making a set of Mandalorian armor, but with no idea on how to make it. It didn't work well. It fell apart twice without any talent or knowledge on how to do it.
hmm Is that something that you would maybe try again in the future?
Yeah, I mean, at the conventions they normally do talks on how to make things with the foam.
hmm
So obviously you can pick up some valuable skills there, but obviously it's always best to learn things and how to do it first.
Awesome. Okay, so again, this is another interesting question. In your opinion, what are the best and the worst things that a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to go to a cosplay event? So let's start with the three worst things that a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to either go to a Comic Con or another cosplay type of event, in your opinion?
Well, don't leave your costume till the last minute
Nope.
because it will fall apart, and that is bad.
hmm
And if it does fall apart, you've got to make sure you do take something to fix it with, whether it's duct tape or super glue. And you just got to make sure you don't panic about your costume.
Awesome. And what do you think are three of the best things that they can do when they're getting ready to go to an event?
Be prepared. Then obviously pick a costume that you're comfortable wearing and
hmm
just have fun.
Awesome. Um, what are some of the funnier things that have happened to you when you're getting ready to go to a Comic Con event?
Well, for the Suicide Squad Joker, I realised after I'd spent 2 hours doing the makeup, I did all the face tattoos backwards. Yeah. But it was just to the point where I didn't want to wipe it off and just went with it anyway.
Well, I suppose you could see Joker doing something like that. What was one of the things that, while you were prepping to go to a con, that you just thought was the worst thing ever? Like, obviously you mentioned there about the tattoos being backwards. What would be an example of a moment?
Probably the paint peeling off props after you've spent 2 days painting them.
Yes, I can sympathise there. What prop in particular would you be referencing there?
It was the swords for Deadpool. I'd painted them chrome and then they peeled off and ended up black.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain. So there are two types of Comic Cons that we can go to here in the UK, and there are two types of Comic Cons actually all over the world when you really think about it. There's your big once a year ones, so your ones like London MCM or London Film and Comic Con or San Diego Film and Comic Con or San Diego MCM or whatever their equivalent is. And then there are your smaller, more local ones that happen every 2 to 3 months. Yeah?
Yeah.
Out of those two, which do you prefer going to? Do you prefer going to the big once a year ones, or do you prefer going to the smaller ones, or do you like a blend of the two?
I do like a blend of the two, but I do actually go to more of the more local ones because they are better organised.
Okay. Is there a particular reason why you like the smaller ones over the larger ones, other than they're better organised?
I mean, there isn't as many people there, but they're all really friendly because they're all local and they all know each other.
Okay. Do you agree with myself and some other cosplayers when it comes to the bigger ones? Don't get me wrong, they're absolutely awesome and we love going to them, but you don't get as much time with someone, like say your friends for instance, that you go there and you meet and you see them only that time in the year. You won't get as much time to sit and talk with them as you would at a smaller Comic Con.
Yeah, I do think that actually happens quite a lot.
Okay. I like to dub that like the New York minute. You know, because you only get like 5 minutes with somebody, and it's normally, "Hi, how are you? Love the costume. Bye."
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. That's the interaction. So, when you've been doing these particular Comic Cons, like the big and small ones, what are the 3 things that you're most excited for? And one thing that you either used to or still kind of do find most nerve-wracking about doing these events?
Well, for the smaller ones, obviously, most of the people there I know and I am friends with, so I get to see all my friends at the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the small ones only have really great stalls there compared to like, the bigger ones. But for the most nerve-wracking thing, we'll probably be doing the cosplay competition every time. Because obviously the crowds get bigger and bigger every year, but they become more popular in the UK.
Oh, sorry, brushed a bit of hair in the wrong way or moved it the wrong way. So, when you've been doing the competitions, have you ever entered into the cosplay either competition or masquerade? And if you have if you have entered into it and won anything, what was running through your head when they called you up?
Well, it all depends on the size of the event. Mm-hmm. I've done ones at bigger events as well, where like at London Film and Comic Con, I entered that one.
Mm-hmm.
See, with it being a much bigger crowd, it's just you got to make sure you get everything right.
That can be very, 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 very difficult. Did you ever win anything when you entered into the competitions?
I haven't won anything, but I don't really try and win anything. I just enter because it's fun, get to show off the costumes you have.
Awesome. Have you ever been asked to judge any of these types of competitions?
I haven't been asked to judge any, but I am helping at Comic-Con in Glasgow
Hmm.
later this year.
Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
I would like to attempt to try it, because there are some really good costumes that people bring.
Um, having spoken to people who have judged, and they've always said, every single person that I've spoken to that has judged an event has always said the same thing. It is so difficult to pick out three overall winners
Yeah, because
over a
every
crowd
week's
of.
a lot of effort.
Yeah, and it's. I always feel for people in that position, and it's why if anybody asked me to judge, I'd have to really seriously consider, could I do that? Could I say to somebody, your costume is better than all of these other people, when I possibly could look at a costume and go, well, I like this about it. So I have tremendous respect for everybody who goes and does the cosplay competitions and masquerades and as a judge in that regard. Okay, so my next question for you is, what are the three top funniest things that have actually happened to you while at a Comic-Con?
Well, for funny ones, one of them was actually being recognised by one of the celebrity guests there,
Hmm.
which is quite funny because obviously at first I didn't have any clue who they were until I went and see them afterwards.
Hmm.
I mean, it just turns out it was Bill Paxton.
Ah,
Yeah. So I had no clue who he was at first. He just started talking and then went and seen him afterwards and realised
it's Bill Paxton.
Mm.
Um,
it's quite a big guest.
what would be like? You're mentioning the celebrities there. Who have you become most starstruck around?
Well, it was last year when I went to London Film Comic Con. I went and met Jamie Renner, who plays Hawkeye,
Ah.
which is quite a big moment. The year before, I met Hayley Atwell, who played Agent Carter.
Hmm.
Which, but the one that was most starstruck by was Christopher Brown. Christopher Lloyd, sorry, who plays Doc Brown.
Uh-huh.
He's a big part of Back to the Future.
Oh, right. I know who you are. I know who you're meaning now. Um, oddly enough, he was somebody that I was talking about with recently, and my friend who was telling me, oh, this person's going to be at this event, and it was Christopher Lloyd. He was saying, oh, it's Christopher Lloyd, and I'm like, who's that? Like, what was he in? And he said, he's Doc Brown. He's Back to the Future, and I'm like, I can't place him. And I said, are you sure you said Christopher Lloyd? And he's like, yeah, Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown. And I immediately went and said, oh, Uncle Fester from the Addams Family. He's like, yes. Wait a minute, he played Uncle Fester? And I was like, yeah, he played Uncle Fester. That's how I know Christopher Lloyd. He's like, how do you not know him from being Doc Brown? And I'm like, because I know him from being Uncle Fester. That's how I know him. And he's like, no, you should know him from being Doc Brown. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I don't. Whatever. Who has been you mentioned quite a few celebrities there, so who out of all of them was your kind of like your favourite interaction with?
I would have to say definitely with Jeremy when I was meeting him last year.
And what was that like for you? Like, were you like, oh my god, or?
I actually stayed quite calm throughout the whole thing. Quite surprisingly, meeting one of the main Avengers.
Awesome. Have you ever cosplayed as his character, Hawkeye?
I haven't. I've always thought about cosplaying as Hawkeye, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Okay. So my next question for you is, what has been your most favourite interaction with people who want photographs with you? Because when you're a cosplayer, you do have to sometimes stop and take photographs of people who are walking
Yeah.
around the con floor. And you get a very wide range of people that come up to you and ask for photographs. So, what has been your most favourite interaction with somebody? And it can be in any cosplay that you've done before.
I think it's great, like when you get all the kids come running up to you asking for photos and they say their favourite superheroes.
Um, what has been the most memorable one in that regard then for you? Who were you cosplaying as, and
I was
what was the
at
story behind it?
Manchester Film and Comic Con and was as the Civil War Spider-Man.
Mhm.
It was a group of disabled children all dressed as the rest of the Avengers.
Aww. Keep going.
And they all
Oh.
came up and said I would get a photo with them, so obviously I quite happy said I would.
Oh. Has there ever been a very weird interaction that you've had when somebody has come up for a photograph? Like something that you didn't expect happen?
I can't really think of any weird ones. Most of them are just quite normal, really.
Okay. When it comes to photographs, is it something that you're always happy to do, or does it really just depend on your mood that day? Because obviously, when you're working a con from like early bird ticket, which is probably like 9 a.m. in the morning, to whenever it finishes, which could be like 7, 8, 9 at night, you know, you can be, if you're there all day and you're there in costume, you can be very, very tired very, very quickly, you know, so you're kind of like by the 109th time somebody says, "Can I get your picture?" You're just kind of like,
Yeah. Normally I'm always quite happy just to let people take the photos.
Okay. Is there any particular photo that you've had taken that you prize above all the others?
I can't really think of many. There's just quite a few that I just share all the time.
Awesome. So my next question for you is a really interesting one, is age differences. Now, we marginally touched on this one. When I first started cosplaying, I didn't know that cosplay was basically for everybody, like it was all age groups. Any sort of material that I was being exposed to when it came to cosplay was primarily coming from the States.
Yeah.
And while I would see families doing cosplay together, or what I thought at the time was cosplay, it was pretty much like your mums, your dads, your children, and they'd all be in costume, but they would always, always be in their house, or what I'm assuming is their house. And it would be like a quick click picture on the staircase. And I'm like, well, this doesn't really support cosplay. It seems like they're just getting ready to go to a fancy dress party.
Yeah.
And when I looked at cosplay in particular for solo groups or people, I saw that there was a very specific demographic, which was early to mid-teens to mid-30s in terms of an age group. So, and with that in mind, when I went to my first event, I just thought, oh, it's going to be early to mid-teens to mid-30s, and that's the demographic that I'm going to be working and seeing. Walked in there, so many different age groups, and I was so surprised. When you first started, did you have a similar notion when it came to age group?
Like I said, obviously I went to a convention before I started cosplaying, so I knew roughly what to expect.
John, did you put that washing on?
2 cents.
No?
Yeah, I did.
So you didn't really see much of like, you didn't think, oh, there's going to be like this age group, or this age group.
No, I'd seen quite a wide variety of ranges at my first convention.
Awesome. Do you think there are particular cosplays that fall into age categories?
No, not really, because cosplay, anyone can do any cosplay.
So let me just kind of expand a little bit on that. Do you think there's particular cosplays that would be more suited to children over adults, and then adults over children. Like some people think that the Suicide Squad Harley is definitely more of an adult costume.
I mean, I can see where they're coming from. Obviously, I have seen some really good costumes that kids have done for that.
Mm-hmm. Is there any? I'm just trying. Okay, well, we'll move on in that. When it comes to you yourself, do you gear any cosplays to a specific age group? Like, for instance, Deadpool is obviously a very I would say it's set for a teenager and up audience. Do you do any other cosplays that would be recognizable to a really young audience? Like, for instance, maybe a Disney character like Aladdin or Woody from Toy Story, or those types of characters.
Yeah, well, obviously I do my Spider-Man cosplays every now and then, but I am actually planning a Hercules cosplay at the very start of the start of the film.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that will be received? Like, are you hopeful for that one?
Yeah, I think it'll be quite good.
Will you be using those vocal cords and doing a little bit of "I Can Go the Distance"?
I will try.
Well, I hope we see videos of that in the near future. Who knows? It might even be linked in this one. I don't know. Is there any, when it comes to acting a particular cosplay, is there any, like, do you pick cosplays that are very close to your own personality, or do you go for a particular cosplay that is completely the opposite end of what your normal personality is like?
The first time I cosplayed, I chose to do the Spider-Man because it was quite easy to do. It was quite similar to the personality I had. Mm-hmm. And after that, I just decided to do cosplays that I wanted to try, like Deadpool, doing the Joker, and Scarecrow as well.
Oh, I haven't seen pictures for your Scarecrow one. I've seen your Joker and your...
There wasn't many pictures taken of the Scarecrow one, but there will be soon.
So I'm guessing that the Scarecrow is something that you're going to do again.
Yeah, we're just working on making improvements and fixing things.
Okay. Getting back to the age difference thing, and I want to see what you think about this. I personally think that we're very lucky living in the UK because I've seen a lot of people who cosplay of a certain age, like, I don't want to say 50s and over, but it's kind of 50s and over. That tend to use their age to their advantage when they're cosplaying. So they will start cosplaying characters that are of their era. So people from the older Doctor Who's and maybe characters from like modern day culture, like older Harry Potter characters like Dumbledore and Hagrid and various other ones. Is there a cosplay that you are thinking for when you hit a particular age? Like one that would fit with your age at that time, kind of thing?
I have actually thought about it, and I'm definitely going to be doing Gandalf from Lord of the Rings.
Awesome. What would be the driving force behind that? Like, first of all, which Gandalf are you thinking? Are you thinking Gandalf the Grey or Gandalf the White?
See, I might start off doing with the Gandalf the Grey, and then eventually start working my way to doing Gandalf the White.
Awesome. So, is there any particular cosplays that you would encourage younger people to do?
For the younger people, I've just encouraged them to do any cosplay they want to do.
Awesome. Okay. So my next question for you is, what opportunities has cosplay opened up for you away from cosplay?
Well, most of the opportunities that came up from doing this is like helping out at charity events, promotional events for movies, Just obviously I still most of the time will need to take my costume with me to help out, but it's been quite good.
Awesome. Is there any opportunities that you would like to get out of doing cosplay?
I can't really think of anything I would like to get out of it because obviously, as I said, I've done the charity events. I've done quite a few last year. Promotional events, I've done a few last year. But got some planned for this year.
Awesome. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the opportunities that you have, well, charity events or events that you have planned for this year in terms of things that are away from going to Comic Cons and whatnot.
Well, so far this year we've just got a few local charity events where obviously I will be setting up with more child friendly, more child friendly characters. Like either with my Spider-Man or when Hope releases it, I'll take that one. This is more for children's cancer or children's illness ones to raise money for them.
Awesome. And if you have, well, obviously I don't know just yet, but when your interview comes out, the links to those charities, guys, will be in the description of this video, so please do go ahead and check them out and lend your support in any which way you can. So my next question for you, and this is one where we get your rubber hands and go yippee, is props. The blessing and curse at the same time. Now, props for me fall into two categories and then three subcategories. So the two categories you've got is it goes to a Comic-Con, it goes to a photo shoot only. And when I say Comic-Con, I mean like Comic-Con or charity event or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes with me somewhere. And then the three subcategories are really large back-breaking prop, medium size, somewhat back-breaking prop, and it's so nice and small it goes in my pocket or in my bag and I'm good to go. Now, when you're doing, obviously all props depend on what you're cosplaying as, but if you're going to a cosplay event or charity event, which size of prop are you more inclined to take with you? Would you be more inclined to take a large prop, a medium prop, or a small prop?
It all depends on what character I'm cosplaying, really. Like for my Deadpool, most of the props aren't too big, but obviously the stuff's still got a bit to carry them around all day. I have seen some bigger props which aren't too heavy because they use AVA foam to make them, so they are really lightweight still.
Okay.
This is always something I am trying to do.
Awesome. When you're going to a photo shoot, obviously we have to think of transport and such likes. So again, what size of prop are you more inclined to take with you then? Are you more inclined to take any size of prop?
For a photo shoot, I'll take whatever prop is accurate. Like for my fiance, she does a Harley Quinn cosplay, so we made her a hammer, which stands about 5 foot tall. So it is quite a large hammer.
Okay. Speaking about props, or specifically when you said you made a prop, I always feel that there's three types of props that you can do. You can have the bought in, designed exactly the way that you want it to be, the bought in and customized, and then the made from scratch. Which out of those three are you personally more inclined to do? Are you more inclined to bought in ready made, or bought in and customize it, or make it from scratch?
It's a mixture between making it from scratch and buying it and customizing it the way I would like it.
Awesome. So when you're, let's do the buying and customizing first. So when you've bought in a prop and you're going to customize it, on average, how long would that take you?
Well, for example, my swords, obviously you have to prime the swords first before you can even paint them. Then with it being two different colours, you want to do it all separately, which takes normally it can take 2 to 3 days. All depends on the size of the prop.
Okay. And when you're making one from scratch, how long on average would that take you?
Well, for the hammer, I think that took us about a week to make. Obviously, It was easy enough because obviously we had all the stuff to make it. We just had to put it all together and paint it.
Now, I have this really good question to ask you. Having cosplayed as Harley Quinn before, and having made a hammer before, I know what hell it is like to get certain materials for it. So, during the creation process, do you go through a similar thing to what I do, which is you start thinking of the prop as another living thing? So you start talking to the prop and say, you will work. You know, and then you go to bargaining, to screaming at it, to saying, why are you not working? You know, like completely losing it.
Currently I am making a sword for a friend, which currently it's been just trying to get the sword to be rigid is currently taking about 5 months, and it still won't be rigid.
I feel your pain. What stage of the making tree that I kind of slightly pointed out there are you at? Are you at the I'm going to swear at this prop? Or are you at the I'm throwing this prop out the window?
No, we're already past all that bit. I think I've come up with a more reasonable solution on fixing the issue.
Okay, so you're at the stage where you're talking to the prop again and say you're gonna work.
I don't even know where the prop is anymore. I've just moved it from my site.
Now you see you're still one stage behind that. So if I leave it long enough, I'll think of something and I'll be happy to go back to it. Okay. It's not at that grey stage just yet then. Okay. So, what has been your most favourite prop that you've either made or customized?
I would have to say it's the Harley Quinn hammer. Obviously, it was still quite weighted well. Obviously, with it being a 5-foot hammer, it's hard to keep it well weighted and balanced. But we did a pretty good job of it.
Awesome. Is that something that you would ever make for somebody else as well, or?
Yeah, it was easy enough to make, so I could either tell them how to make it, we could easily make one for them.
Awesome. Is that something that you'd ever consider when it comes to maybe a small career type thing, like prop making, or?
I wouldn't consider it as a career, more as just like a hobby.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now for your next 3 cosplays. So the next cosplay that you'll be doing at a convention, so like your next convention, one that you're in the process of making, whether you've just started making it or you're halfway through or whatever, but different from the one that you'll be wearing at your next convention. And then the last cosplay I'll be asking you for is something that you're thinking about doing either this year or next year. So it's like in the thought process. So let's start with, what are you going to be doing for your next convention? Who will you be?
The next convention I'll be at, I'm probably going to be doing Scarecrow. I mean, it still needs a bit of work done to it, but it'd be good to take it out again.
Awesome. So, who or what are you currently in the process of making right now?
In the process of making is a Mandalorian armor from Star Wars. It takes a while to make them, but obviously you got to get it accurate and make sure it fits.
Okay. And one person that you're thinking for later this year?
For later this year, it'll be definitely be in Hercules.
Awesome. Okay, so my last question for you is, what advice would you give anyone or somebody who is looking to start cosplaying but doesn't know where to start?
Just go to a convention. If they're not too sure about cosplaying, obviously go to a convention. You'll meet cosplayers there and just ask questions about it. And obviously you can make friends with them. Obviously you can always ask them questions after the convention. That's what I did. And then just start searching on the internet for costumes that you'll be able to do.
Awesome. Another really good piece of advice, guys, for that particular one is, if you are going to a cosplay event, make sure you tell somebody where you're going. If you're
Yeah.
not already going with friends or family. Always be safe. So, before we do the Passover, I just want to say a couple of things. Please give this video a big thumbs up, because me and Merc, we like our thumbs. Also, don't forget to leave us a comment down in that comment section. I think it's like down there. Do you see the comment section down there? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, where there are lots more interviews with cosplayers, as well as some Let's Play videos going on. But if you, for some strange reason, cannot get enough of me, you can follow me on iGameOnline.net, where you can sign up for free. Also, we have a Facebook and a YouTube channel where you can catch up on us. And on iGameOnline.net you can catch up with myself, Whisper Green Top, Zelly, Darkly, Honey Jade and Georgie Kitty on our weekly podcast, where we get together and talk about random things that happened in our week. However, if hearing people talk about random things that happen in their week is not your cup of tea, you can head over to the TV Job, where I'm joined once again by BVS, where we get together and talk about a whole host worth of TV events that are happening, like episodes of things like Arrow, Gotham, all the way to things like Game of Thrones and Two Broke Girls. So go along and listen to that. We also do the occasional movie, so that might be fun for you guys to listen to. However, if people's weeks and movies are not your thing and you need something that's maybe a little more game orientated, we do table talk sessions, one being on a Tuesday night, which is normally live, and that is Dragonlance. It is introduced, no less, by the voice of God, Morgan Freeman. But if tabletop isn't really your kind of thing, you maybe want a little more of a, if Dragonlance, I should say, isn't really your kind of thing, but you want more of a tabletop feel to it, maybe even a Lord of the Rings feel, you can join Dylan Trust, Zabi, Estelle, Molwyn, Theo, Olwe and Nostrael in our Lord of the Rings Merc session. Who knows, we might be running into people like Gandalf or Aragorn, or maybe even Legolas. Who knows? But again, if tabletop really isn't your thing, you want more cosplay stuff, don't forget to check out the Any UK guys on iGameOnline.net, where you can catch up with Kobe Kicks, Alpha Betty and Little Rascal, and see what kind of stuff they're getting up to. But as I was saying, don't forget to leave myself or Merc a nice little comment in the comment section down below, and hopefully either myself or Merc will do our very, very best to reply to your either question or anything else that you want to ask us there. But however, if you don't want to leave a comment there, if you think your question's a little more personal and you want to get a hold of Merc, he is hopefully going to give us some lovely little links where we can get a hold of him. So Merc, where can we get a hold of you if we have any further questions?
2 seconds.
1 sec, guys.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And just search for Merc with a cosplay. You'll be able to find me on there.
Okay, so that will be Merc with the Cosplay, guys, and don't worry about this because all the links will be in the video description down below, so do go ahead and check them out. Follow Merc, tell him I sent you, tell him hey, and also don't forget to check out the charity. Hopefully there will be a charity link there for us as well, for to go ahead and help support any of the charities that the cosplayers are supporting, because they are very good causes. So that being said, I've been Jai452, Merc has been Merc, this has been Inside Cosplay, and we will be back again with another interview very soon. Bye guys!